ละคงจะเป็นวิดีโอสุดท้ายแล้วถ้าให้เดาที่สุดท้ายยังหาไม่เจอเลยจะช่วยกล้วยทอดควรจะเป็นอาวุธที่ดีที่สุดสิ
Rivia Castle. Seems our journey nears its end.
That end could yet prove tragic. We've daunting tasks ahead. Pride. It's all I ever felt pondering those walls. Yet now, to behold them from below, I truly do wish we hadn't built them so tall.
ก็คงแถวที่เริ่มต้นเนี่ยNilfgaardian 2 ชั้นมีหินไม่เคียงที่สุดก็คือข้างบนนั้นนะจริงๆก็คือมันก็ไม่ได้มีผลอะไรหรอกแต่ก็เป็นพวกบ้าความสมบูรณ์แบบเนี่ยเราก็ถี่ถ้วนนะมันยังมีตรงไหนที่เรายังไม่ได้ไปกูว่าสรุปดูไหมเนี่ย แถวนี้เหมือนละข้างล่างนี้บ้าป๊บไม่ใช่บนนู่เอาละ let's go
The castle of Rivia now loomed before the Lyrians. Water surrounded it on three sides, and dual defensive walls studded with podgy turrets completed its perimeter. It was famously difficult to take and had changed hands only once, a few months before, when traitors opened its gates to the Nilfgaardians. Foreign banners waved upon the walls. The golden sun and General Epdahi's crest on Rivia's walls. The walls of home. There was somber silence among the troops, the glee and pride of many triumphs suddenly gone. For each knew if the Queen ordered an assault, most would lie dead by sunrise.
Your Majesty,
Began Reynard in a reassuring tone.
we needn't strike quickly. We've time on our side. To prepare would be wise. 2 months, I wager. Perfectly enough. We stop supplies from getting through. They'll capitulate, I've little doubt. Or at worst, be too weak to defend the fortress.
Reynard's reasoning was sound. There was no need for urgency. Meave had the upper hand for the first time in this war.
These invaders have grown fond of Rivia Castle,
Said Meave.
so let them stay and rot. Reynard, erect road barricades and guard posts between city and citadel. Gascon, seize all boats, barges, anything that floats. Stop anything from entering from the lake. Move!
Soon, Rivia Castle stood isolated from the world outside its walls. All roads leading to it were blocked, impassable. Fishing boats, a cordon, embraced the fortress on Loch Escalot. The lanterns on their bows glowed like fireflies in summer. Then, an emissary from the castle brought a message for the Queen. General Epdahi wished to meet, face to face, and half the way between the citadel and the Lyrian camp.
Well, some general.
Smirked Gascon.
We've barely snapped the trap shut, yet he's already shaking in his knickers.
Meave proceeded to the meeting point without delay. A lone rider soon appeared on the horizon. He came adorned in rich black robes, their golden trim shimmering in stray sunbeams. She'd seen him before, in Edirn, through the megascope.
You came as I requested. Good. Very good.
I couldn't possibly refuse such a courteous invitation, especially as compared to your previous missive. The art of diplomacy, you've improved your grasp.
Your realm fell quickly. I expended little strength in seizing it. This left me much time to study. But please, we must set aside this bitterness. I'd like to formally welcome you to Rivia, dear Queen.
I see you've readily adopted the role of gracious host in my home.
In point of fact, I've grown fond of the castle. Fortifications impressive, atypical of the north. Not so your brave soldiers, whom we shall pick off like ducks. I pity them, in fact.
Dry your eyes, General. Rest easy. I've no plans for a quick assault. I shall first wait to hear the rumbling in your bellies.
Remarkable. You truly believe you can win this war? I've not been in the north long, but have discovered something all the same. You don't grasp complex ideas. You know Nilfgaard is large. but your minds don't fathom its enormity. You see, for every army you defeat, another will come to take its place. One larger and better equipped than the one before. Even now, as we so pleasantly chat, Army Group East is en route to lift your siege. Due to arrive tomorrow. And you know what will happen when they do. They will crush you against your own castle's walls, like the maddening flea you are.
A charming analogy, but get to the point. Why'd you ask for this meeting?
For this very reason. I wish to see you with my own eyes.
They did not see enough in Edirn? Are you such an admirer of feminine beauty?
You flatter yourself. No, in you, I see an animal. Game. Prey. And as the hunt's due to start soon, I needed a more detailed image of the beast I'll be looking for.
You, on a hunt? Those delicate hands have never held spear or bow. Naught sharper than a letter opener, I wager. Tomorrow you will not be on a hunt. Tomorrow you will be at war. You'd best pray to all your gods you don't find me.
Without awaiting a response from General Ep Dahi, Neve pivoted and turned toward camp. Her pace was quick, despite a heavy heart.
Always good to see you.
We shall return to...
No skin up. Oh, quiet in here. Not at all like the airy bear. As a rule, human fortifications aren't worth a pound of shield marshite. But this fort sure turned out all right for you. Flowering hell! Got no chance against these walls. Tricks to stay positive, isn't it, Your Majesty? As a rule, human fortification...
Gonna be one hell of a night! Ah! 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 Don't you dare sound the retreat, got it? My axe craves blood, Nilfgaardian blood! Gonna be one hell of a night! Ah! Ah! Ah!
Always darkest before the dawn. Many will die today. Too many. Many will die. Many will die.
Meave's closest advisors already awaited her in the command tent. In a few brief words, the Queen gave a report of the meeting, only with great effort masking the quavering in her voice.
An army, an immense one, approaches from the west. If we meet in open battle, we stand not a chance.
Damn it! Why did no one warn me?
Our scouts were discovered, captured. It must be that.
We must flee? Not at all heroic, I admit, but sure as hell better than being trampled into the dirt.
Easily said, but for a problem. Our force is chiefly infantry. The army that draws near includes cavalry, several regiments. We cannot hope to escape them. We cannot hope to hide.
What do you advise?
We've two options. Capitulate.
Out of the question.
Or take the castle tonight.
Suppose for a moment it's possible. Tell me how and at what cost. Are we to scale a mountain of comrades' corpses to reach the top of the wall? I know we're at war and many die. But to command our troops to take that citadel is to condemn them to certain death.
Rivia's walls are unassailable, I fully agree. But there's more than one way to take any fort, and this fort too.
I think I like where this is going.
I know this citadel like no one else. I know its one potential weakness. The boat landing.
Wait. That narrowest of piers between the two turrets? The one where the fishermen would land?
The same. As I'm sure you recall, Your Grace, at that narrow pier's end stands a narrow door leading straight into the fortress. A small detachment could approach unnoticed, overwhelm any sentries, and get inside.
What then?
They would need to pass through the fort to the winch in the guardhouse. Open the gate for the rest of the force.
Reynard, I'll be honest. It sounds right mad.
Perhaps. But as options go, we have it alone.
And I'm to choose to send folk there? Most certainly to die.
You needn't choose anyone, for I volunteer. And will take only those willing to do the very same.
Bloody wretched plan.
And you've a better one, do you?
Of course. I'll go instead.
Beg your pardon? I don't.
Face it, Reynard, you couldn't sneak past a corpse. Sound like a bloody tambourine in that armour. Apart from which, you're Maeve's right hand. So you ought to be by her side when the fighting starts.
Firstly, Reynard, I'm grateful. Well done, my friend.
Thank you, Your Grace.
But truth be told, I did indeed hear you walking to the tent from the other side of camp. And yes, you know Rivia Castle better than anyone else. But the assault must transpire silently. Gascon will lead the force.
Understood, Your Grace.
Cheers, Maeve. I'll try not to disappoint.
You won't, I'm sure. God speed you on your way, and please, try your damnedest not to die.
Gascon hand-picked his men, those most adept with daggers, not swords. Noiselessly, they glided through the dark toward the castle, the light of its lanterns blurred by the evening mist. Maeve watched anxiously as the boats glided away, her heart pounding in her ears. All depended on this mission. The fate of her realms, perhaps all the North, the lives of her troops, and her own. Now there was naught she could do but wait.
Good luck,
She whispered, gazing at the fortress walls, cloaked by the dark that seemed to surround all now. The Lyrians prepared for battle, their silence absolute, in darkness, illuminated only by the pale light of the moon. Maeve was restless. She paced nervously in a circular pattern, awaiting the signal they'd agreed upon.
Blast, it's taking long. Much, much too long.
Finally, a torch's faint glow appeared atop the towering walls. It disappeared, then glowed again, and one more time around. Maeve leapt in the air, and as she did so, barely stifled a cry of utter joy.
They made it! It worked!
Moments later, Lyrians in the hundreds burst from the trees. The Nilfgaardian defenders loaded their catapults and ballistae. They did so slowly, convinced the castle walls remained impenetrable. Then they heard chains, grinding and clinking, and the sound sent shivers down their spines. Bewildered, they watched the main gate rise as the attacking force rushed forth.
Chase! Ach Lyrian!
General Epdahi dispatched an elite unit to take back the winch at once. Yet he saw this was in vain and all was lost when Maeve rode into the castle courtyard. Maeve had begun the day known as a great warrior. Yet by night's end, legend was the cloak she wore. Her shield stopped powerful blow after blow as her blade found gaps in her foe's black armor. At first, Nilfgaardians scoured the fray in search of the Queen, hoping to prove great heroes. Soon, she was their chief scourge, and they began to flee before her blade that sung their death.
That's right! That's right!
What was this extraordinary vigor that surged through Meve? Naturally, she wished to liberate her castle and realm, drive off the invaders, defeat the arrogant General Ebdahi. But in that moment, above all else, she longed to fight her way through to the guardhouse and bring Gascon's party relief.
Follow me! Move! Move!
Meve had expected the worst, a bloodbath, piles of corpses. Yet all in the guardhouse was eerily quiet and calm. The door to the winch room lay shattered, true, but this was the one sign there'd been any sort of struggle. What happened here? She thought. Cautiously, she entered, looking, searching for any trace of Gascon and his fighters. Instead, she spotted Willem, curled up in a corner, clutching his bloodied belly, his fingers not enough to stop all the holes. Meve tore off her cloak and went to stem the bleeding.
Willem, what happened here?
My wrongs. I sought to right them.
Wheezed the prince.
Please, forgive me.
The young prince choked on this last word, did not manage to utter it, before his eyes went dull. Moments later, her men entered the room to find the queen kneeling, pounding the wall with her fists, her eyes flooded with tears. Willem lay motionless beside her, covered by her cloak. Gascon pushed his way through the other foot soldiers. He knelt beside the queen and whispered what had happened. His unit had not managed to reach the gate in time, but Willem had. Upon seeing Lyrian forces converging on the fort, the prince had rushed to the guardhouse and opened the gate himself. By the time Nilfgaardians closed it again, it was too late. The Lyrians were through. The queen rose, her fists clenched, her shoulders rigid, her knuckles white. Her face betrayed no sorrow, no despair, just rage, hot as a forge, immeasurable.
Now's not the time to mourn.
Seethed Meve, struggling to stay calm.
Now's the time for war, for slaughter, revenge. With victory today, we'll recover our home, return to our kin and set our blades aside at last. Yet until victory is ours, they must drink. Drink greedily of Nilfgaardian blood!
The Lyrians were at the brink, near their breaking point. They'd followed Meve for thousands of miles, over snow-clad peaks, through forbidding swamps. They'd fought, survived countless battles at her side. And though their gazes were now weary, she knew they'd follow her into fire.
Your Grace, the Blackclads, they've holed themselves up in the upper keep. We went to breach the wall, alas to no avail.
Meve nodded, twirled her sword, then leapt upon a mount. Her eyes spoke pure determination.
So we'll bloody well try again. This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Mahjong.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Queen!
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
This could hurt.
God save the Queen!
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
To the last! Gloire and cat down!
ชนะกูก่อนปะล่ะชนะกูก่อนปะล่ะเนี่ย
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
To thee, Nilfgaardian!
ซบเร่ง
Sod it all.
Nilfgaard!
As you wish, my lady. Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Yeah! Mahjong.
มาสิง
An army's a waste of time for them like me.
In retreat!
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Necessity! Invention's mum.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
Give me a time.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Our ballista, your command.
Brach! try!
มึงโกงกูนะแบบเนี้ย
For you, pal! Anything!
Don't like this.
Left, right, left, right.
ตัวปลาไฟกูหายไปไหนหมดหายหมดแล้วเหรอวะโอ้ยสนใจ
You sure about that?
Off to the front yet again.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Inarin Yarde Crowfair.
I'm a monster.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Quiet! Or the commissar will hear. Barbarians. Oh, we're ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Wanna know why I've got my scar?
Cursed traitors.
Again and again and again.
Order will triumph! It must triumph!
Sod it all.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Now, how did that incantation go?
Discipline shall bring us victory!
For the Queen! God save the Queen! Of course, as you wish, Master.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
ก็มีปัน สุดท้ายละมึง
Archers, let it be night. Obscure the sun with arrows.
A highly curious case.
Where is he? Tell me where!
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. they now made more use of shields than of swords. When Meave finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more.
Trocker! Nen Tuvin!
Meave showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared. A prisoner revealed ep Dahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Meave cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him,
muttered the queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to. Preparing the defense.
That night, the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Meave's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay. The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle, they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General ep Dahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there. This place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Meave had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. For King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with ep Dahi.
Demavend's envoy and I spoke, Your Majesty. The king has Aldersburg surrounded. He awaits and won't begin the assault till you arrive.
Good. I truly hate to miss it. Tell the troops to prepare. Gear and ire.
Of course, Your Grace.
Yes? Is there something else?
Pardon my boldness, Your Grace, but I can't help but be concerned. You don't sleep. You've the air of illness about you.
Reynard, I just buried my son, who died in my arms, God's damn it.
Yes. Died a hero, Your Majesty. I wasn't sure Willem could ever wash away the shame. He'd betrayed his country, his mother, aligned with the fiercest of our foes. But his actions in Rivia washed away his wrongs. Willem showed himself worthy to be called your son. I don't say any of this to deepen your grief, Your Majesty. I mean merely for you to be proud of him.
You're right. I thank you, Reynard. That I needed to hear. We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg.
Your Grace, if I may. Some of our comrades in arms would like a word with you. The war nears its end. Paths are likely to diverge.
I see. Thank you. I shall stop by the mess tent later.
pleased to see you again, Mom. You need something?
The war's near its end. The future, what does it hold for you, Isbel? Wise counsel will always find a place at my court.
A tempting offer, Mom. So be it. I shall stay. But I've one condition. You're never to force me to wear shoes.
Ha! These terms I can agree to. Duty calls. I must go.
Of course. Should you need me, I'll be here.
Huh? What is it now?
The war nears its end.
Sadly,
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company, so go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Always good to see the Queen.
Our conversation in Mahakam, do you recall it? When you resolved to join my force, leave your homeland?
Of course. Clear as day, that. You saved me and my clan. I'm in your debt. Will be for some time.
Well, we've won the war, and you had a hand in the victory, heavily so. As I see it, you've more than repaid your debt.
Feeling a wee bit choked up, as King Desmond said when an assassin's bolt ran clear through his esophagus. Come here and give us a squeeze.
Later, perhaps. But Gabor, any plans for what comes next?
Ha! I wasn't expecting to have this chat, so I'm a bit caught with my knickers down past my knees.
War's over, but we've much left to do. Our relations with non-humans, for instance. I mean to improve them. And I think you could help, Gabor, greatly so.
Meaning, you'd like me to stay in your court? I'd see it as an honour, Your Majesty. An honour true.
We shall return to this conversation later.
No skin off my back. We seeing each other, Your Grace.
Hey ho, how's my favourite queen in the north?
So, what awaits you now? What will you do?
Been contemplating it of late. Thought I might go back to the life of an outlaw. Not that I'd expect you to approve.
You're quite right, I wouldn't. It's why I wish to make certain you'll not feel tempted. Gascon, I hereby bestow upon you a number of estates near Scala.
What? Maeve? Damn it, I don't know what to say.
Ha! A first?
Thank you, Maeve. 1,000 thanks.
'Tis I who should thank you. With all my heart. It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell.
Yes, Your Grace?
The war nears its end. What next for Reina Dodo?
Whatever you command, Your Grace. Is something amiss, my lady?
To be perfectly blunt, I've no wish to give you orders anymore.
Your Grace? Would you wish me to leave? Remove me from the court?
No, Reynard. I'd wish you to stay. But I'd no longer wish to be your queen alone. Do you catch my meaning?
I do, Maeve. I do.
It's time I attended to other matters.
ฉากตอนเริ่มเกมอยู่อ๋อ
A look, 'tis Maeve, slayer of the Blacklands. Long live the Queen!
Just watch and wait. I wager you'll chase the Emperor himself off the throne. They say war's a man's affair, but you showed them, my lady. Just watch and...
ยังมีให้เก็บไหมวะ
The Lyrian army had grown into a great serpent. So much so that riding at the column's tail, Niamh could not see its head. Footmen, cavalry, and archers stretched like a glistening snake between two horizons. Niamh had come a long way indeed, and she felt proud. Suddenly, Niamh heard angry cries and the clash of steel against steel, all at the column's front.
Those ranks! To the left! Man's left! Support the flank!
Niamh drew her sword, spurred her horse, and galloped forward along the line of troops. Then, through the swirling battle dust, she spotted shimmering golden suns.
ให้เราสู้อีกละหลบเลยก็ได้นะแม่ด่านบอสสุดท้ายเมื่อกี้ก็ยากอยู่แอบเสียวว่าจะแพ้อยู่
Surround them!
New orders? No? Ah. One boat is all I need.
อ๋อบ้า
To the last! Yeah!
Ah!
Mahjong. Don't buy this.
Must be an important lesson in this. But what? For you, pal! Anything!
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
I smell a leak.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
Hundred and 102, 103.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
We must trust each other.
A dram of glue, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
152, 154.
Cursed traitors. Give me a target.
Nilfgaard!
Left, right, left, right.
In retreat!
As you wish, my lady. Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Yep.
Scheiß! In train! Mercy! Have mercy!
Normally disciplined, determined to an extreme, these Nilfgaardians quickly broke rank and ran.
Deserters! Leaderless, Your Grace.
A scout reported.
Headed south, they was, towards the frontier.
Chained prisoners now sat along the dusty road. Neve stopped in front of one. He was ragged and unshaven. Flies had taken an interest in his poorly bandaged hand. Spotting the Queen, he lowered his head and quivered with terror.
I know you take us for savages,
Began Neve, her gaze passing over several scraggy black clads.
but fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a truce is signed, you'll be sent home, where I most sincerely hope you'll stay this time.
As the Queen mounted her horse, she barely concealed a grimace. Her thighs were sore and chafed, her hands raw from the reins. But she bit her lip and rode on, for the prize was now very near.
Was in Aldersburg when it fell. Broke my heart, that did. But not complete. No, I'll take it back. Other kings could learn a thing or two from you, Your Majesty. Fight on! It was we who were to offer Lyria our aid. Things got turned right round. It was we who would...
เก็บไม่ได้งอน
The good mothers guided you to victory. Nilfgaard angered the gods. Too much pride in them, not enough humility. The entire North owes you thanks, milady. And you, the gods, the entire...
Meave was listening to a scout's report when screams suddenly burst from the prisoner transport. In a moment, Meave bore witness to a truly macabre sight. The Nilfgaardian captives to whom she had recently been merciful lay dead, massacred in cold blood among the camp's tents.
Blast it all.
Seed the Queen, looking at the bloodied corpses. Those responsible for the deed, peasants from the quarry at Ravencloft, Meave had welcomed into her ranks. The harm they'd endured from Nilfgaardians wielding whips. This was what had festered in their hearts and minds. The Rivians couldn't accept that their oppressors had gone unpunished. So they took matters into their own hands, in defiance of the Queen.
There's fiends, not folk,
cried the peasants, now armed and in uniform.
They was owed this, plain and simple.
It had been justice by a mob, and Meave knew it should not go unpunished. Yet at the last, ignoring her advisor's counsel, she left the former slaves' fate for their commanders to decide. For the Queen had grown weary of choosing between two evils, each one darker than the other.
Ignore the other.
Long live the Queen! Long live our liberator! All's left is to drive the Blackclads from Aldersburg, and the war's won. Our Demoven's not bad, but he don't hold a candle to me. All's left is to drive the...
อ้าวไอ้ยูนิคอร์นหายไปซะแล้ว
Meave noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something. Could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined?
Meave placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's squirt!
An arrow.
กดเร็วไป
It's a trap! 2 arms!
Got business for me?
Ach! Scheiß! In Zwei!
Watch your heads! Catch!
Have done in a jiffy.
Hey, don't toss that. It's perfectly usable.
shame to let this beauty go to waste.
Again and again and again.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Cursed traitors.
None shall tread on us!
I only use corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh.
Now we will see who is weak!
Sod it. Sod it all.
We ought to help one or the other.
Our ballista, your command.
May your sword and arm be one.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Have strength, my love.
Armor voice. Yeah!
Đúng á, mình phảiชนะกูภายใน2 เทิร์นแล้ว
Death to humans!
Renner, stop! We surrender!
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renner. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and am no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Tristan's commando. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Ebdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renna. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Cedd, if not worse. We wished to join with your Veth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... you've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu. I beg you. So few of us remain. All tired, all wounded. We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
I thank you for your compassion towards me and all my folk.
Meve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence. They did not approve, this was clear. Their displeasure was palpable.
You weird.
Well, then all of you, treat yourself to our new view, for a better future through and through. First foundations hoist the walls, then we'll revel in its halls. Everyone's doing their part to rebuild the homeland. Well, then all.
Fresh eggs for sale!
Sausage, cheese, milk, exotic silks.
Berries and grains expel without a strain.
As ever, the market in Harmelan bustled with life. Though that particular day, Meve was earnestly surprised at the sight. For just months before, Nilfgaard had leveled the city. Harmelan's rebirth was now well underway. Folk hammered and sawed, and the scent of fresh mortar filled the air as the city rose from its ashes. In spite of the chaos, the mayor recognized the queen. He rushed over to greet his illustrious guest.
All this must cost a veritable fortune. Where did you get the coin, good man?
It's low. Altogether unbelievable. A vast sum at a very low rate, to be repaid a century down the line.
My. A banker with deep pockets and a generous spirit. Droll, I'd say, if I wasn't eager to meet him.
Nothing simpler, Your Grace. He lives in a house on the market square.
Intrigued, the queen asked to meet the mysterious financier. And who should come out to greet her, if not Mirko Vidmar? When last they'd met, Meve had helped the dwarf to raise the funds for his enterprise.
I cannot believe my eyes. My royal benefactor. Oh, didn't just stand there. Come in.
The bank was a frantic flurry of activity. Papers rustled, coins clinked, and stamps slammed the countertops.
You gave the city a loan, I heard. Preferential, to say the least. An entire century to repay it.
What's the rush? Fact is, I enjoy seeing them work. The progress they make, it's mental. Every last one of them builds what he wants. In Mahakam, we'd spend a year debating whether to pound a nail 9 times or 10.
The Queen and Mirko shared a sumptuous dinner. They toasted his success, and she set off once more. The following morn, the quartermaster approached. A vexed grin on his face, he reported the news. Soldiers had found a chest in one of the wagons. When opened, it proved to be brimming with gold. None could say for certain whence it had come, but Meve had her suspicions.
Master Mirko advises against taking on any credit in Kaviri marks or Pavisian Byzant. No profit to be had. If only all the midgets were like Master Mirko, why, we'd get along just famously. Dwarves offer the lowest interest rates. Coincidence? Dwarves offer...
It'd be an honor to fight at your side, Majesty. Side by side, we'll kick those black-clads across the Yoruba.
Long live Eden! Long live Rivia! Long live Hyrule! Lyria!
Side by side.
I will. นี่นั่นใส่มือเองไงนะ
The Lyrian corps neared Aldersburg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Meve saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersburg was under siege. Yet this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demavend's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Seems the realm's restored to a virtuous path,
muttered Meve.
Aha! There she is! Queen Meve, savior of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Meve, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tucktail went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Growing like a weed he is. And the spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what a villain.
He perished in the assault on Rivia Castle.
Oh my. Fighting for which side?
The right one. Demavend, the wound is fresh, the pain immense. I'd rather we not speak of it. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home. But the old borders don't satisfy us so.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one. Wait in ambush. And when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think if we were to join forces.
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersburg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Neve set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace. It's not far now.
That very same day, Neve's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All felt so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Caldwin, Your Majesty.
At last, a Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Caldwin, it seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me, you carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Caldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Neve's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly, and you're certain you're not mistaken. The wonders of this world. Caldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Caldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. Neve failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Epdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Epdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Niamh had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ah! So a lass saved the North from the Blackclads?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap, she find herself one in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time he got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Ah, very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem, a pawn, a tool in others' hands. Most, if not all, had seen him thus. Yet in the end, he proved his worth soundly. Though he'd started the war a traitor, he perished in the fray, a hero, and would be remembered as such. Having settled in Rivia, Gascon embarked on a life worthy of his noble origins. In doublet and ruff, he looked to his ample fields and livestock in daytime, attended banquets and feasts come the eve. And then one night, he grabbed his bow and quiver, saddled his favorite mount, and disappeared without a trace. As news of the Nordling victory filtered south, Nilfgaard's inhabitants greeted it with disbelief. Returning Imperial soldiers told stories of Lyria's cruel queen, who murdered prisoners and sullied sacred laws. They referred to her as Gvaeldet, the bloodthirsty one. With the advent of peace, tensions waned. Lyria's and Rivia's disparate races seemed to live harmoniously, side by side. The Queen pressed for new laws aimed at curbing oppression. They were a step towards more enlightened rule, yet sadly were habitually broken. And Niamh? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Reynard ever at her side, tempering, supportive. No longer a general and trusted advisor, he had to the Queen become something more. Much, much more. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
โอเคจบครับ มันใช้เน็ตเวิร์กด้วยเหรอวะนี่มันเกวนเรือQA เยอะมากตอนนี้บักสตรีมแอชิเมนต์อย่างเยอะเพลงก็เพราะอยู่นะครับจะหยุดเดินลาฟด้วยCOG.com ทีแคสของเกมนี้จะไปอยู่หลังสุดเสมอเลยนะ ถึงจะมีเลยทีเดียวไม่ถึงเกาหลีอ่ะเฮ็ดแค่เกมแม่งลงทุนกับการแปลเยอะกว่านะเนี่ยเอเชียด้วย มาแล้วโครงสร้างองค์กรไม่มีซาวด์แท็กเลยซาวด์แท็กหายไปได้หมดอีกรูสตูดิโอชื่อเหมือนคนไทยเลยจบได้9 ชั่วโมงก็แย่แล้วแหมเดี๋ยว46เกมแล้วโอเคครับขอบคุณที่ติดตามหรือไม่ติดตามแล้วแต่